Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, July 21st, and just looking at the market for the morning. Yesterday, wow, what a rally yesterday. Luckily, on Monday, we loaded up in the trade room on some leveraged ETFs right down here at the bottom. Sort of had that zone identified off of our daily charts. I know it's a lot to look at right here, but just kind of the start of some of the high volume from this consolidation area right in here. Okay, you can see this volume starts right there. So I had that red dotted line. I talked about that in the analysis and took some longs right off of that, and that's worked out beautifully for us. So that played out nicely. Yesterday, I honestly didn't trade a lot. The market was moving really fast and just didn't offer a lot of entries for the way that I like to trade personally. And so, I didn't want to accidentally, you had to move pretty fast. I didn't want to take on more risk, accidentally because things are moving so quick. So I kind of just stayed out of it. Last night, however, I did alert the members in the group of short up here. And so I put that on for the overnight account, and you can see that that actually played out really nicely. So I had this option for a long too. You can see price came close but didn't quite fill it, and so that would have been there. It didn't quite fill it, so I'm canceling that one. But this short played out really nice, so I'm really happy with the way that that worked. We can get rid of that now. And that was basically, we took that short because of the volume accumulation during this big pullback that we had. This was the largest volume accumulation within that. You can see it's just like a big ledge, right? So there was some volume here too, and you could have attempted to trade this one, but this one's much larger, and this one, the price action was just so strong yesterday during the open session that I think trying to short against that, it's just really hard. Whereas in the overnight session, price action had slowed down, became much more probable that if it touched this level, that resistance would hold. So that worked out really well. Pretty pleased with that. We'll kind of see where the market goes from here. There is, this larger sort of distribution up here, and but it's not really clean, right? Like there's not really like clean levels to go off of. So I'm not sure that I would personally, I'm not sure if I would personally like put a lot of weight on that. If we look at it on a bigger picture chart, it's not like a really clean distribution. So I think we're looking more at like just the big pullback, and this is kind of the area that we already played off of, basically from this. So, we'll have to see where the market goes today. Technically speaking, when we look at this kind of bigger picture chart, this is the 4-hour chart. If we sort of map out our swings, right, this is the sort of down movement, and then, we're really just, maybe you can call this a swing here, but really we're still just kind of pushing up, and it's right into the bottom of this too, right? So this is why, the other reason that this level was a really nice level, because we have all this, you can see, where's the tool I want there? Here we go. We have like resistance, and then support, kind of support. So like all kind of off of this general zone, right? And so that was a really nice area. That was a really nice area with a lot of confluence for us to take that short trade off of. So I really liked that trade a lot. I just did it in my paper trade account because I don't always like having overnight trades on in my live account. For me, like I don't like waking up in the morning and feeling like I got to check my charts right away. I've got little kids. I like to focus on them in the mornings, and I just don't like having that on my mind. But I do like sometimes playing those, and especially in the paper trade account, just to kind of see how they play out. So that worked out really nicely. Very happy with that. So, that's kind of what we have to look at right now is, maybe I shouldn't have taken that off. Right now with this movement, we're kind of coming right up to this. Are we going to come down and test some stuff down here, even if we're going to ultimately move up? what sort of pattern do we need to form on this bigger picture. On the smaller time frame, we're already, breaking some structure. So on a smaller time frame, if we look at this, you know, even this was a little high here. I'm going to change this color in a second so you can see. This is kind of what we're doing. So here, I'll actually just get rid of this one now. So this is kind of the smaller time frame, structure. And as you can see, we had this high here, and we broke it, and then we retested the top. So that was a really nice area you could have gone long off of in the pre-market, overnight from Monday. And then kind of broke it again. This sort of punched down a little bit below that, and then we sort of rocketed off, and then here we are, and then making a new high. So really, if this structure is going to continue, we want this to hold. But what we could see at this point is this could just come down, and we could, retrace a little bit somewhere in here, and then move up. We got to kind of wait and see what the market wants to do. But those are sort of our possibilities. Regardless, we're very aware of this resistance here, this whole kind of zone, and this was our key level that we took a short off of. And there's going to be a bunch of accumulation down here that if we do pull back, this is probably going to be the area that we're going to look to resume our long positions. This was a nice accumulation on this hourly chart. A retest of some of this could be pretty nice for us if we look at it like this, right? So looking to go long somewhere around here, this would be a really nice area for us to look at that trend resuming, and put our short under there. Notice that when this sort of retested here, it was again this sort of daily low volume node that we've been watching over the past several weeks. So that's been, we kind of probed it a little bit and just tested the top of that high volume area, but then we just kind of tested that daily low volume as we move back into this newer auction that we're forming. And what I mean by that is, again, oops, not that one. Let's try the 8-hour chart. So if we take a look at this picture here, we can see this previous auction, okay? This was the stuff we were stuck in for kind of a couple months, right? This previous auction here, and this is the low volume node, and now we're starting to form this newer auction up here. So the question is, are we just going to balance up here for a while, or are we going to continue a nice uptrend and just see this profile become elongated to the upside, which would obviously be the more ideal option. But the fact that we're back up into this zone is good, right? We want to stay. We don't want to get caught back in this. If we come down and test these areas, we want to basically see buyers come in and push right out of it pretty rapidly, and that's what we saw yesterday. So that's sort of, again, that's sort of what we're looking at. If we do come down, there's nothing in here. I mean, this was such strong buying that there's not any support in here. These levels these are intraday levels. We can get rid of those. This, I don't even know what that is anymore. And again, there's a little bit of support here from this node. Oops. From this node right in here. So there's a little bit of support. But it's not a ton. Like, it's just a little bit of support, right? So again, I'm not going to put a tremendous amount of credence into that, especially as we look at this bigger auction. You can see it's not a lot, and we sort of already reacted to the top of it, because if we look at where the volume started here, like, my line was just a little bit low, but price did kind of react to the top of that level already. So to me, that area is just sort of spent. Certainly not going to trade off that anymore, but this is sort of where we are, and we could just range today between this. I mean, it's a 20-point range, so it's not unrealistic to have a range day after such a strong up push yesterday. It wouldn't be unrealistic for us to just rebalance up here. And you can see that even through the open session, I mean, no real volume. There's been a lot of volume accumulating up here, basically, is I guess what I'm getting at from the second half of the day yesterday. and then the overnight session. So definitely prices being accepted at these levels. And if we kind of continue to move down, then this might just be short covering and stuff like that. But um, I think we're looking pretty good. We just got to get through this resistance right here. So let's just take a quick look at the session volume. Just get a feel. So definitely like yesterday's value area, we are well within it, and you can see that we're also kind of testing off of the point of control. So, again, it's very probable to have a range day today, but we can't say for sure. But it is a very probable thing. So we just got to kind of look at that, and we could just be continuing to build this rebalance up here, which is very much in the middle of that larger auction that we were looking at. All right. So it would make sense if we are going to create a balance up here. You can see that right about where the middle of that would be is right where we are. So to fill in some volume here, from a structural standpoint would also make sense. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for today. Again, I don't have, the only real level that I'm watching right now is that 42.73.25. So that's the major level that I'm watching. If we come down there, I'm probably going to go to a smaller time frame and start looking for reversal to the upside. If we do start coming down and you're trading short intraday, if you're scalping to the short side, just keep an eye on that 42.73.25. You may want to be, be careful going into new shorts as we approach that level. And if you're in a short, if you have a runner on or whatnot, that would probably be an opportune time for you to take profits. As we're going into that, we can definitely expect at the very least price to slow down. Even if this larger trend is going to continue, even if this larger trend is going to continue, I think we have to be very aware of this area, that even if it's going to continue, we could, do some stuff and then go down, because it is still possible that we test some of these other high volume nodes within this range. And I still have money in my long term that I need to allocate. So I'm kind of just waiting to see, like, if this holds, I'll probably start filling in some of those positions in my long term. But if this breaks, I'm going to look to add down here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at from a long term perspective. So intraday, I'm looking at basically we could have another trend day up, but I'm skeptical of that. Even if we do, I think there's going to be a ton of resistance up here, so I don't think it's going to go quite as far and strong as yesterday. I think it's definitely probable that we get a range day sort of between these two zones, and then it is possible that we come back down and test this, and then this is going to be a crucial area to see how the auction reacts to that area. So that's kind of all I got for today. I'll be in the trade room at dpmtrades.com. You can join us there if you'd like. And otherwise, I hope you have a great trading day, and we will check in with you tomorrow.